70% of people in America dream of becoming entrepreneurs and self-employed, but only 6% really end up becoming. So what that tells you and me is that most people will use their salaries as an accelerator and the seed for building wealth.
Your job is your greatest asset. There's nothing wrong with having a good job or having a job that pays you all the time. Your employer is your greatest investor. Start investing. Start putting that money to work for you. And that is the access that we're providing to our community as XSITE Capital. Because for the first time, you have a group that is 100% owned by African immigrants that is able to provide institutional grade assets. We earn a lot of income. We are the highest tax at 40%. But now you have all these wealthy guys that are getting taxed at 20%. What do they know that you don't know? So your 9 to 5 is your greatest asset. Your job is your greatest asset. There's nothing wrong with having a good job or having a job that pays you all the time. Absolutely. You see, this journey of entrepreneurship is not for everybody. The pain that you have to deal with, the uncertainty that you have to deal with, is not for everybody. And so there's absolutely nothing wrong with having a good job and using that job as a leverage to build. And that's exactly why we created that community, the Beyond 9 to 5 Club, because our ethos is that your job is your greatest asset. Your employer is your greatest investor. So, but what you do is, this is what I do. This is a great hack that I teach people on how to do it. So there's this framework Robert Kiyosaki came up with, which is called the Cashflow Quadrant, which is like having 4 quadrants that you could belong in. There's like there's the E, the S, the B, the I. The E is the employee. You exchange your hours, you earn income. The S is the small business owners. You have to be at work. You have to be at your business in order to make money. The B is like some big businesses like the Amazons and all of that. And the I is the investor, right? Yeah. So now the goal is to have yourself more on the B and the I side of the quadrant, right? That's where you have to keep exchanging your time for money and doing all of that. And you could start doing that with your 9 to 5 job. And that's exactly what I did, right? I was attracted to the B to create a big business and the I, not just to be but you can be an I. You can use your E to become an I, an investor. All I did was I looked at my job. I said, okay, every day I go to work, I used to work 12-hour shifts. I said, I'm working 12-hour shifts. I earn a specific hourly rate for those 12-hour shifts. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take 4 hours of that 12 hours and invest it towards B and I activities. Now, if you want to build a business, you could do exactly the same thing. If you just want to be an investor and create passive income, you could do exactly the same thing and just move your income from the a certain number of hours in your day towards the I quadrant. Start investing. Start putting that money to work for you. The American system is created such that you could use your wealth, the income that you earn to create massive income. Now, when I talk about investing, the most things that people usually jump to is like the stock market. I'm going to go invest in the stock market and do all of that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, right? But if you look at the average return on the stock market, where you look at ETFs and all of these other things, it's about 8 to 9%. Your money is still growing. It's better than putting your money in a bank account. Put the money in a mutual fund or whatever. Let it earn you 8 or 9% a year. That's much better. But on a higher step of that, there is like private investments, which is investing in private markets, investing in like private equity. Like if you learn about the US, there's like the public markets and then there's private markets, which is called private equity. And if you look at the return average, private equity average always doubles what the stock market does. And that is where the savvy, the rich, they invest in. And that is the access that we're providing to our community as XSITE Capital.
Bro, I want you to talk to our guest about that aha moment for you. When it clicked in your mind that, listen, damn, Leslie, you made for more, man. Listen, you are not going to take this thing like everybody else. This is America. The cake is big, and they're going to have a slice of this $1 trillion cake. Tell me about that aha moment.
So that's really, really a good question, Gustav. So the aha moment is progressive. It started when I was a CRNA and I felt that pain of exchanging my time, my life for the money that I earned, right? And I got on this journey of personal development and started reading books and doing all of this other stuff. Then one day, we signed up for like this mentorship program, and they invited us to a conference in Boston, like a multi-family real estate conference. We got into that conference. There were about 3,000 people in there. You could count the number of us, the number of Black people that were in there. And most of them were like brokers that came with other companies. And then if you want to talk about African immigrants, it was just about 4 of us that were in that conference, right? In the conference of about 3,000 people. And in that conference, you listen to conversations about millions of dollars, billions of dollars, all these other numbers, right? We did something amazing that opened up a lot of doors for us. We were able to tap into some networks and got invited to dinners and all of this other stuff. So I'm having conversation with these guys, and I'm listening to them, and I'm like realizing they're not smarter than me.
That's right.
They're not smarter than the people that I work with. I work at Johns Hopkins Hospital with some of the best
Top of the top
in medicine, right? These guys are not smarter than the African doctors that I work with. They're like, what do they know that I don't know? We had gave a lot of value, got invited to these dinners, and I'm sitting at night in the dinner, and they're having conversations. And they're talking about millions, billions of dollars. Oh yeah, you remember that I just gave you a call and we closed this deal? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, Gustav, there are 2 different
Annual income
Americas.
is not 1/10 of their commission.
Exactly, in a day. Somebody like the hours that I had to exchange to make $400,000, $500,000. Somebody
Yes.
is making that happen in a conversation.
Yes.
And it was that day that I realized that there are 2 different Americas. And it's that day that I realized that's why I tell you that once you discover the truth, you never go back to the
Go
lie.
back to the line.
I remember after one of these dinners, I called my wife, and I could not sleep that night. I called her. We were in Boston. I called her at 1 a.m. She thought something bad had happened. I'm like, no, babe. There are 2 different Americas. What I've discovered today, my life will never be the same. That was the aha moment. That was the day that it was ironized and internalized and locked in that it doesn't matter what it takes. It doesn't matter the amount of effort that it takes. We are going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep pushing until we make this happen. And even if it's not for us, for
Correct.
next people, for every other person to see that
It's possible.
it's possible for them.
Yes.
Because as you know, I come from very humble beginnings. I remember as a child growing up, I went to primary school for the Cameroonians that know Cambe in the Northwest Province. That's where I went to my primary school. And I remember as a young man, I always visualize bigger than my environment. My friends would tell you that I spent a lot of my time daydreaming because I used to think about a world that was bigger than where that environment that I was in. So
Correct.
you can imagine the amount of other young kids that live in these environments that have this bigger vision for themselves, but they've never seen anybody that come from that is able to do that. When I started on this journey, I was looking for that person. I was looking for who that person would be that would guide me. I was looking in that community. I was looking around until one day I met with one of my mentors and I was telling him like, hey, you know, in this environment that I'm not seeing anybody. I'm not doing, and this is what he told me. He was like, Leslie, the person you're looking for is the person you have to become.
That's right.
And that day, I was like, okay, you know, yeah.
Wow.
So all these things come together, right? And you're like, you know what? This is it. This is it. This is the journey that I have to be on. This is what I have to dedicate my life to. This is my own purpose that I have to live by. So I'm living. That's why I tell you I'm living the dream because I'm living the life that I believe that I'm meant to be. It's not even about the assets. It's not even about the world. That is nice and all of that, but it's about walking in line with what you really enjoy doing, walking in that purpose that you've discovered in life. Just like you, Gustav. Like what you do right now, it comes naturally because you've always been that way from anybody that knows you, that knows that this is the path, you know. And once you discover that and you start walking in it, you know, there's nothing that stops you.
With your experience from that industry, how did that help you translate that into success in XSITE Capital and the real estate industry?
That's a very good question, right? And that is what I tell a lot of people. That's the reason why we created the club, the Beyond 9 to 5 club, where we are educating other hardworking 9 to 5 professionals on how to be able to leverage your 9 to 5 to think beyond your 9 to 5, right? What we don't realize is we already have the requisite skills. I told you the story about us going to Boston and meeting all these guys and realizing that they're not that special, right? But they just have a bigger vision. What makes them different is that they have a bigger vision of themselves. So the skills that we've learned to build our careers translate, right? For example, as an anesthesia provider, right? It took years and years. Like I spent hours upon hours in the library to read, like stop working, I had to do all these things. It takes a significant amount of discipline,
Yeah.
delayed gratification, and sacrifice in order to be able to accomplish the goals that I wanted as an anesthesia provider. In the field, when I'm managing a patient under anesthesia, I have to learn, I have to think about all the risk, everything involved, what this patient is coming in with, and all of that, so that nothing bad happens during surgery. When I'm managing it, I'm thinking about 3 or 4 different aspects, right? Manage that to perfection, so that at the end of the surgery, the patient doesn't only wake up, but wakes up comfortable without pain and is very happy about the experience. That critical thinking skills, that discipline, that ability to delay gratification, you take all of those skills and you apply it to business, you are going to be successful. The most important thing is that you have that vision, you have that faith, like Gustav said, where you are driving in that foggy rain and all you can see is the first 100 feet ahead of you. But you know that when you drive that 100 feet, you're going to take the next one, and then you keep going and you keep going and you keep going. And that is where a lot of us are afraid to do, that level of uncertainty that comes with being an entrepreneur, because you don't know. You don't know where your next check will come from. As an employee, you go to work, it's very predictable. Every 2 weeks, you get a paycheck, and that paycheck becomes a drug that is very addictive, right? But when you move away from that, it's a very scary thought, and that's where a lot of people back down. But the mere fact that you're a doctor, the mere fact that you're a CRNA, the mere fact that you're a lawyer, you're a nurse, you whatever career, you're a database engineer, you're a software engineer, the discipline, the same amount of discipline that it takes for you to get there, you take that same discipline and you apply it to business, and you just have the ability to deal with a little bit of unpredictability, you're going to be successful, very successful.
Indeed, 100%, Les, 100%. Because interestingly enough, I think, like you say, most people they have everything that it takes. I think the big challenge usually is just being able to ask those critical questions, which you asked, and which I also asked at the point I decided 4 years ago that, you know what, I have become unemployable. Nobody's going to employ me no more. Because it's simple. You start asking yourself the same skills you apply on the job you're doing, and you can make X amount of money, but under this much constraint. What if you apply those same skills and bet on yourself? What happens? Now there is an element of the fear which most people are afraid, which is very logical. We understand that. You come to America, you get a family, you get a home, you get yourself entangled in all of these things. But tell me, Les, you coming from the healthcare industry, you know a lot of people in that industry that make a lot of money relatively in income and salaries, right? But what is it? What is it that really defines that mindset which makes them misunderstand the whole area of money, freedom, and investing? How do you advise people who are working today, who are maybe middle class, maybe even high income earners, like from the healthcare industry, the role you used to work in? How do you advise them to think about money, to position their mindset, and to invest for the long term?
That's a great question, Goose. And see, the thing is, a lot of us go to school. We are taught to get a job, how to become really good at our jobs, and how to earn this money from our jobs. But none of us are taught on what to do with the money after we earn it, right? Yeah. So the system is set up to keep us in this rat race, in this trap where we keep working, we keep working, we keep working to earn money, and we don't even know what to do with that money. We don't know how to tap into that money, leverage that money to create freedom for ourselves. And sometimes I believe it was intentionally designed that way by the people that created the education system,
Absolutely.
right? So that we stay stuck. Guess what? What do? You work. They tell you exactly what to do. Go to work, earn an income, then save your money in a 401k plan, do these mutual funds, do all these other things, and then hope that 60 years from now or 50 years from now, you have enough money to retire.
So if you're working a 9 to 5 job, earning a good paycheck, bringing home some good money, but you are still feeling stuck when it comes to building real wealth. I know exactly how that feels. I used to be that way, chasing the paychecks, adding more jobs on jobs, and I thought bringing big money means I would automatically build wealth. But you know what? It took me 2 painful layoffs to finally get the lesson, to understand that, Gustav, you were building the wrong way. Gustav, you need to do something else, because what used to be job security is now job insecurity. That wake-up call was a few years ago. And since then, I decided I was going to build a brand to help cater to professionals, to immigrants, to hardworking, hungry people like you who want to see something different, who want to make sure that they don't end up broke, to have a platform and a template to work with. And now I want to create something with you in mind, for you and for your needs. A product designed to help guide you on how to invest and see results from that. That's why I'm inviting you to take part in this pool. It's going to be less than 5 minutes for you. Fill the pool. And when you do that, you're going to be automatically entered into benefit 30% of the early bird access for that program. In addition to that, you are going to have exclusive founders only bonus content, a chance to make this historic product, make it personal, your own pathway along with me. So click on the link below and complete the 5 minutes poll. Because you know what? I just don't want to build something. I want to build something with you in mind, with you participating and making sure that it meets your needs. I will see you on the inside. And by God's grace, I will see you at the top.
You gotta realize investment is risky.
Yes.
You don't take all your money and go to Vegas and gamble, because you know it's okay, because they call it Las Vegas. It's casino. You don't go to the casino to invest, right? To take all your money to risk. So once you understand that investment is risky, you got to make sure that the money you're going to invest is not money that is going to ruin you, right? And of course, I've made a lot of mistakes in the past. I've invested a lot of money in things, because every day you learn, you get knowledge, and you learn. You make mistakes, you invest in things because you're believing in someone and what you thought they were telling you the truth, and some people lie. Some people are scammers out there, and they lie to you, and then you find out, man, this person just ripped me off. But you know what you're gonna do, right? You can only control what you can control. You learn from your mistake and you move on. But doesn't mean you stop moving forward. You don't stop moving forward. You keep moving forward and keep going until you find the right product. And there's no perfect product. The only best product out there is the product that you create yourself, what you know yourself, because you're the only investment that is valuable. Everything else is we're just gambling, right? So I can continue. I invest a lot right now in True Legacy Life and Lago. Why? Because I got to keep pumping money in it to continue to grow the company, right? And grow, because that's what I know. Now, when I have monies that I feel, okay, this money here, I could use it I could tap into some other deal to see what they do, then I could do it when the right opportunity presents itself.
It shows up.
Awesome. I don't just jump into any investment anymore. I've made mistakes in the past a lot. I've lost a lot of money in the past. But so now I'm very careful of what I jump into. And some have been great for us and some haven't. That's one thing I tell people. I cannot help you make money. If you want to make money, it's up to you, because you have to labor and work for it. Because I could show you the blueprint that I've used. That's all I can do. But the question is, are you going to follow the blueprint? The first thing I realized, invest. Now some people, they reinvent the wheel and they might get some success or whatever the case. There's no perfect way, other than I can only teach what has worked for me. And if you're willing and to follow the system, then follow it.
It's not belief from a naive perspective. It's after studying and examining within self or what one's core competencies are, studying towards that, and at the point where you believe that satisfactorily that you're ready, you have to go, because it's like an athlete preparing for a game. If you've trained sufficiently enough, then you don't fear the opponent. And that's what happened with me. I always wanted to go in the sport, media and entertainment business. And I trained myself and developed a network. At the time, I realized that I was ready to go. I had no fear in me because I thought that I was sufficiently ready for the level. You cannot succeed in high-level sports without being talented. You can't succeed without being disciplined, and you cannot succeed if somebody doesn't open the platform to you. And that's why we're trying to work tirelessly to open platforms for more African boys, because we feel that Africans are hugely disadvantaged from not having professional leagues, so that a lot of talented Africans were disenfranchised. And we haven't even scratched the surface of what we're trying to do, because we need to offer more opportunity for these kids to have the ability to let their talent shine worldwide, which is not easy because it's extremely competitive to secure slots for these players. What do you think is best for you? But make sure that you go through a period of self-examination and find out for yourself if you think you can do it. If you think you can do it, then go for it. If it doesn't work, then go back for the safe option. You're young enough to learn.
Hey guys, have you been wondering how you could chat with me one-on-one just to talk on your aspirations, your career, your business, and the things you might dream about with your life and you would really like to do with your life? I know it's been a challenge because a lot of people have been sending me inbox messages, asking me questions and asking me how they could get to me. That has been answered for you. I've created a one-on-one program where you can actually book a time. You look in the link in the description. You can book a time and have a one-on-one conversation with me for 30 minutes for a very small fee. If you look down in the description of this video, you will find that information and go ahead and book a time and let's have a conversation. So Paul, tell me, a lot of immigrants coming to this part of the world, one of the number one reason most of them give driving them to come to Canada, America, North America is certainly first for economic reasons. And then there's also academic reasons, and then there's social reasons. As somebody who spent a lot of time advising people on how to build wealth, how to build businesses, tell me, what are some of the key things, the key mindsets, the key steps, the key way of thinking that an immigrant has to implement in order to build wealth in this part of the world?
Yeah, that's a very good one. And I would say that the first thing is to work on their mindset. It's important to have an abundance mindset, because one of the worst things that can happen to you is finding yourself in the middle of abundance with a scarcity mindset.
Wow.
You're not going to be able to maximize the resources. So work on
You're,
your mindset.
you're not going to go past that like that. You're not going to go past that like that. You cannot drop a gem and you just walk away. Come back to that. Finding yourself in a place of abundance with a scarcity mindset is a killer. Oh my
Is a
God.
killer.
Thank you.
Is a killer.
Run it
Is-
on, brother. Run it on.
Yeah. So, and for people, for most immigrants, most of us were raised in a place of scarcity, not, to be careful with my words, not like Africa is not great, but some people just experience some high level of poverty.
Yes.
And by God's grace, they finally find themselves in the middle of affluence,
Mhm.
but they are still living with that trauma. So it's important to identify the kind of mindset you have and try to change that mindset.
How do
Because
they unlock that trauma? How do they change that mindset?
Yeah, the first thing is to even know the kind of mindset that you have. So if you are the type that you are always saying, you're always worried, thinking that if I don't work extra hard, I will starve, or I will not be able to have money. That's a scarcity mindset. I'm not saying you should not work hard, but the person with abundance mindset knows that I will always have what I need. I will never be poor. I know that I can make money. So that's how to even identify the kind of mindset you have. How do you not change that mindset? You need to start reading books. You need to start reading personal development books. You need to read stories look for people that also moved to maybe your new country at some point, and try to understand the pattern, see how they've done well for themselves, and ask questions. Ask questions, be curious, and be open-minded. We used to have the Stone Age, Then I think from there we move to the agricultural age. Then we move to the industrial age. Now, most of the schools we have today, those schools are offering programs that are preparing people for the industrial age. But that industrial age is, that ship has sailed. Now, we've moved to the knowledge age, and that knowledge age is also now shifting to the digital age.
Correct.
So, if there's anything anybody wants to do right now, I think they should just ensure that they are adding the digital part to it.
For a young person sitting in Africa today and looking at what is happening in the global space, dreaming of maybe wanting to immigrate into one of those countries, but now it's becoming more difficult. President Trump put a stop to it and all of that. How would you advise them to position themselves so they can plug into the global ecosystem and benefit from the fruits of the global expansion while sitting in Cameroon, in Ghana, in Singapore, in Nigeria, in Chad, wherever there might be, Senegal, Gambia, I don't know.
Yeah.
And feel that they're creating impact and be able to still live the life and benefit from all these beautiful things that are happening in the world. How would you advise them to prepare their minds and position themselves?
Yeah, that's a very good one. So, to be honest, I will still go back to what I said. It's an amazing time to be alive.
Yes.
Now, you don't need to be living in the US before you can tap from US opportunities. In fact, to be fair or to be honest with you, there are people living in the US that are not making enough money.
True, many.
Than people living in other part of the world or making a source of living from the US by leveraging technology. So what you can do is to, first of all, find your purpose and see how you can leverage technology to use your purpose to serve people. And there are different ways to do it. I always tell people that everyone is unique. What you can do is find your uniqueness and exploit it in the service of others. Find your uniqueness and exploit it in the service of others. Then you use technology to maximize that opportunity. We live in a world of 8 billion people that are connected together with technology. There are a lot of services you can provide. You can start teaching this. You can learn a skill and start teaching. You can use YouTube to position yourself. You can use Spotify to position yourself. In fact, if you think you want to be a musician, for example, this guy, Justin Bieber, was discovered on YouTube. Yes.
Oh, really?
He was discovered on YouTube. He was playing, I think, his piano, and he opened his YouTube channel, and somebody found him and said, oh, wow, this is such a great talent. And that was how Justin Bieber became Justin Bieber. So there are people living in the most remote part of the world, leveraging internet and using it to sell themselves, to attract wealth to themselves. So regardless of where you live in, whether you live in the US or you live outside the US, you can do so much more for yourself now in this age by leveraging technology. Now you can go on YouTube to learn whatever you want to learn. You can go on LinkedIn. If you have LinkedIn Premium, let's say, for example, even most companies now, when it comes to real professionals, they are hiring outside US.
True.
They are hiring outside the Western world. If you are a software developer, you can do your work from anywhere. If you are a business analyst, you can work remotely. If you are a project manager, you might be able to do that remotely. So opportunities are now open for anyone, regardless of where they're living. You just need to identify what you want to do, whether you want to continue a professional line or a career, whether you want to build a career. You can build a career remotely.
Absolutely.
Whether you want to be a business person, you can even start selling things in your local area and use technology to promote your business.
Hey guys, in addition to all the valuable information I bring to you every week on my videos and my short videos on different platforms, especially here on YouTube, I also have a community of over 2,000 like-minded, serious and driven people who, like you, are receiving exclusively this time a newsletter once a week. And this information in the newsletter is unique and it only goes to those people who are part of the newsletter community. So if you are interested in getting this once a week update, which includes different tips, different ideas on how to build yourself, how to generate wealth, how to make money, how to build a legacy, go ahead and click down in the link in the description and you'll be able to join our newsletter community. And when you join that community, you would realize exactly how much value that brings to you on a weekly and daily basis. Let's get back to regular programming.
There's no time that's a perfect time for you to make that switch.
Yes.
That's one of the things I learned. Two, make sure you have a lot of cushion in a whole lot of places.
Yes.
So that when that happens, you have something for you and your family to survive. And most importantly, a lot of people want to invest in real estate. They know they have to invest in real estate. The problem is they don't know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
There's too much information out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's too ambiguous for them.
Mm-hmm.
Now think about it. For example, let's say, I have my cybersecurity job I'm doing. I have my family. I have that job that's demanding. I'm putting a lot of hours. And my job is stressful already. Do you think now I want to go add additional stress of going to go find properties, managing somebody, tenant, toilets, looking at how to rent it? A lot of people don't have that energy to do it. That is the problem that a lot of people face. Not that they don't want to do it. They want to do it, but they don't have the time and energy to go put it in there because they already have other obligations. Also, a lot of people, if you observe, when they have a job and they invest in the 401k, because it's passive, they just put it away from their paycheck. They don't look at it. A lot of the money managers within the company, Fidelity and Schwab's, those guys just help them manage it on the back end.
Correct.
They don't get to do anything.
True.
That is exactly what we saw. And we said, if everybody wants what we have, what if we can make it easy for them to invest in what they want to invest in already, which is real estate?
What is needed to get that mindset to shift from a mindset of lack, scarcity, distrust to abundance, progress, and unity?
So the thing is, it's more about awareness that there's enough for everybody. The world is full of abundance. And some people are already conditioned for scarcity. One of my mentors always tell me that you cannot teach somebody desire.
That's true.
It's a lost battle.
Yeah.
So if a lot of people are conditioned to have scarcity mindset and they have they're very pessimistic, and I cannot help that person. The reason why a lot of us come to this country and will succeed is because we believe that when we come in and we put in the work, there's going to be results. Especially if you choose and put hard work in it, we're going to be resolved. Now, there's a scarcity mindset from a sense of, now I can put it to work and I can succeed for myself, but I don't want to share with other people. That's a whole completely different thing.
Yeah.
And some of those people require, of course, awareness as well. Meaning you get to let them understand it's okay to share. Because look at it. There's a lot of water in the ocean.
Yeah.
You cannot hoard all the water. There's so much money in the world. You cannot hoard of it. If you share it with people, you get more. They say if you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go with a group of people. And there's a lot of these people who have to be able to see that it's been done.
Correct.
Because it's monkey see, monkey do. We are humans, we copy. If they see that if I help a lot of more people, I'm actually going to get more, and they've seen it that it works, guess what? They want to do it. The reason why a lot of people don't want to open up the knowledge that they have and share with more people is because they feel like if I share it, it's over. I'm done.
Correct.
Somebody's taking away something from me. But if they see that somebody else has done it and they were able to open up the platform and they become better and prosperous, now they say, okay, maybe this model I'm thinking about is not the right model. Maybe this guy's model is the right model. Let me go do it. So we don't have a lot of example that shows that there's abundance out there where if we come together, we can become more, we can
Great
be
things.
more.
Yeah.
So what we are doing at XSITE Capital is to show people that it's okay. There's enough. There's abundance out there. We all can win together. And that's one of the things that we champion. One of our core values is the growth and abundance mindset, where we know that there's enough for everybody and we're willing to share the platform that we've created with a lot of people that are willing to come in this journey. But the people that are not, that are pessimistic, of course, our platform is not for them.